distinctly remember telling my buddy, Greg Issel. I could tell he had apprehensions, but I could be persuasive, so Greg and I walked down to the library and strolled up to the machine. Greg was nervous. "I'm not sure we should—" "It's perfect," I interrupted. I pulled a tattered $1 bill out of my pocket, placing it face down on the copy machine glass, and dropped a nickel in the machine. A few seconds later, out came a copy of George Washington, serial numbers and all. We could make 95 cents profit on every copy if we could use the fake bills at a store. We were not copying the front and back of the dollar bill, mind you, and of course the serial number was the same on every copy. Even more than that, our one-sided, single serial numbered copies were in black and white. Still, I thought our plan could work, and we made a dozen copies. We cut the excess paper off of the copies so the fake dollars were the same size as real dollars. We left the library and headed right to Wilson Street, the hub of activity in Batavia, which meant not a lot of hub, and devised a plan as we entered Olmsted's. Olmsted's was a typical small-town store that sold everything from stereos to potato chips and even had a laundromat in the back. The plan was simple. I would distract the store manager by pretending to be interested in purchasing a stereo, while Greg would feed the fake dollar bills into the laundromat's change machine. I engaged the manager as well as a 15-year-old could. In retrospect, the scene probably looked like Michael J. Fox trying to buy a keg of beer from the old coot in Teen Wolf, only I didn't have the ghoulish voice or freaky eye effects. Greg took one of the fake bills, placed it into the metal slot, and pushed the slot into the machine. When the slot popped back out, there was no bill remaining, and 4 quarters had clinked down. In a matter of minutes, Greg had more than $10 in coins. We made eye contact, and then casually walked out of Olmsted's and headed right across the street to the Huddle, a soda shop where most of the Batavia kids hung out. The grins on our faces were as wide as a Cadillac. We were rich, for sure, but in my eyes, the fact that we had pulled it off was more exciting than being in possession of a few bucks. We stayed at the Huddle for what must have been 3 hours, horsing around, scarfing down milkshakes and hamburgers, and teasing one another and our larger group of friends. Just as I went to put another French fry in my mouth, in walked what I can only describe as a platoon of Batavia and state police officers and scowling FBI agents, who must have been brought in by the locals. Within seconds, both Greg and I were asked to stand up. "Gentlemen, you are accused of counterfeiting fraud," one of the officers said. I couldn't help but flash to images of Capone and Dillinger. Smart-ass that I was, I tried to talk our way out of it, proclaiming that we were just messing around, a couple of Batavia kids bored on a summer afternoon, and I promised that we would give the few bucks back. "This is not a local issue, young man," an FBI agent responded. "This is a federal crime." And with that, Greg and I were put in the back of a patrol car and taken down to the Batavia jail. I will admit I was a bit concerned about what would happen next, but I figured I would find a way out of it. I always did. Greg's father showed up at the jail first and launched right into a tirade. "This has to be Sager's stupid idea," his father blurted out. "Greg has never even been to the library." Mr. Issel," one of the agents replied, "your son's fingerprints are all over the laundromat and the coin machine." He then went on to list the litany of state and federal statutes that we had violated. Next, it was my parents' turn. They talked with the agents and officers for quite a while, so long, in fact, that waiting for it to end felt like its own sentence. With the agreement of the Olmsted's manager, no charges were brought, and the federal officials agreed to let the locals handle it. Greg and I agreed to create and oversee a bicycle registration program for the city and work every Saturday, as well as wash the Batavia police cars as punishment. And that was after my father tore into me. All in all, this federal crime business, the parental fury